Warning, East Coastin must insist that no one attempt to recreate or reenact any stunt or activity performed in this video. Some activities are AI generated and filmed in Mexico.
The group East Coastin.
The East Coastin.
The East Coastin.
So guess what? It's happening anyway.
All right, Sal, where are we headed?
We are heading over to our local Freedom Road, Harley Davidson. We're gonna grab some parts because we always need them, but
There's a guy at the parts counter, Pete, old school Harley guy, has all the archives. He owned a bike shop for years, got all kinds of cool stuff hidden away. Anytime we order a specialty part, whatever it may be from Harley, like, I don't know, an FXDX front end of lower, he sees it's going obsolete, he's like, I'm grabbing you one, I'm grabbing one for the stockpile. So let's see if we could possibly go by his house later and check out what he's got. So Pete's been the man. Like, back in the day we used to come here. The other parts guys, we were just like young kids, didn't want to deal with us, but Pete would take the time out to be like, hey, listen, I'll help you guys out, show you what you need. So.
Oh.
that day like 9:20.
The motor? Yeah.
Did you buy that oil kit for your...
Oh, yeah, we bought this Best Buy. Yeah. Yeah.
The sickest thing is it has like a suction cup mount, and you can like mount it on the back of something when you're driving, and it like follows you.
That's how we do all the rollers on the highway.
Yeah, the technology is crazy.
Yeah. For a small camera, it's pretty damn good.
Let's hit it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get moving.
Pete, catch you guys later.
Yeah,
See you guys.
After, Pete. Take it easy, guys.
Later.
Sturgis from here.
On that?
On that. Oh, yeah, on that.
Oh, my God.
I go back in 12 days.
Yeah?
Round up.
12-day bill from Connecticut to Sturgis.
What was the problem in that back room?
My buddy Big George there has a 2020 CVO trike. They've been begging me. My brother has a 97 conversion truck, and they've been doing these cross-country trips. About 2 years ago, they did 6,200 miles, almost touched California, and came back. So they've been begging me to go on the trip, and he wants me to do it in the trike. So,
What dates do you think? You guys have enough dates picked?
the end of May for a couple of weeks, maybe.
Nice. How many bikes do you think you've built over your time? I'm not saying you built a lot if you don't remember every single one.
I remember them if I stop and think about them, but oh yeah, I remember this bike. I remember that bike. You know,
Yeah.
I got another 5 bikes. No, actually, I got about 8 bikes over my brother's house, which are supposed to come over here. You know, yeah. I've been living in that little house for 40-something years. Her whole basement is full of parts, like all tanks, fenders,
really
paint,
stood out.
all swap meet type stuff.
Yeah.
Would your brother have a bike shop or something? She goes, no, he just liked to collect stuff. Well, what do you think this stuff's worth? And she goes, well, I've been doing a lot of research. She says, I think it's worth about 20 grand. And I said, you're probably right, but it's going to take you 20 years to sell all this stuff. And he had a couple of beat up rolling chassis, but this one evidently had this panhead motor in it. She goes, but this I want to keep. I want a keepsake for my brother. So, I don't know, somehow I let her talk me into putting it together for her. So,
Just a cool project.
anyway, I thought it was pretty cool, you know. I said,
It's a good looking bike, though.
yeah, it should be cool. But the up thing was, it's an S&S crankcase. So I go, well, do you have any paperwork for that? He says, there's no sense putting a ton of money in it if you don't have some kind of paperwork
Yeah.
for this. So she goes, no. So I took the number and I called S&S. Because you've been a long-term dealer and the dealer that bought the thing originally, the case, isn't around, we can send you a new certificate of origin for the
That's
crankcase.
awesome.
But it has to be in her name. I go, well, that's what I want. I
She's getting
I don't
the
want,
bike in.
I don't want it in my name. I'm just trying to help her out, you know? So anyway, that's how that all
At least
happened.
you have
That's
paperwork.
crazy,
No, that's
yeah.
Yeah, I got her the paperwork. So now I think it'll be worth something. That's my holy roller girl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I call, we make those wheels, and I call them holy rollers. So I needed a nun to
Yeah,
promote
make it
them.
really.
The holy roller.
So anyway, she's really selling beer in Daytona, and we photoshopped the wheel in there.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
The
Bronco.
Yeah, what is going on?
You're not going to believe this story. I took my driver's test in this thing when I was 16 years old.
No.
My father bought it brand new, and I went with him when we bought it over in Bridgeport. So I'm taking my driver's test, and he goes, back up, and I back up, and he goes, pull it back into the spot. He's failing me, you know? And he goes, kid, if you could make this thing roll, you could drive. And he's going, what's this lever for? What's that lever for?
Because he didn't even know what everything that was going
No,
on.
and I plowed snow with that's the same plow.
Oh my God, that is crazy. Or no?
It still runs. It's registered.
No way.
I don't know. I may have to charge the battery, but I could fire that thing up right now.
Yeah?
I have had this one since '81.
Yeah, we should have never got rid of the short bus.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Look out for them.
It's
Put it
full of
against the
parts.
glass,
Yeah.
the light.
Look at tanks, tins up there.
It's full of parts. I've had that plate for a lot of years.
That's it.
And you know what? That gets me out of trouble once in a while because the cops laugh so
They
much.
love it.
That's my old Smoky, a '71 shovel that blew up on me on the way to the chicken run one day, and I haven't fixed it yet. My '86 Y-Glide, which I bought brand new, I'm doing a boat tail on it. I rode that to California and back. Oh, my '80 Y-Glide, which is at my brother's, I rode that to California and back.
So how many trips have you done to California?
I know I've done 2 full ones where we were on the road for like 2 months at a time.
Wow.
Me and my buddy Ben.
Did you have your own shop or something back then and just kind of...
In '86 I did.
Yeah.
And I came back, I said, I fucked up my business because I've been
you were
gone
gone
for
for so
2
long,
months.
so-
And I thought, oh man, and then, man, I'll tell you, when I came back, I was swamped with, that's when I built up 55 Panhead for Mr. Panhead, my first Easy Rider. You got to be really careful on these stairs because they're up. And believe it or not, they're up because I used to build bikes down here and they buried them up and down the stairs.
It's easy building it down here. It's getting it out.
Yeah, this is some of the archives I got.
Do you ever forget where things are?
Yeah, I'm looking for some risers that for the trike I can't find anywhere. I don't know where I put them. That's a K model I picked up quite a few years ago, and I got the frame for that somewhere. This is a knuckle that I picked up a few years ago. This is another one of my projects. Let's see.
This is where you used to build bikes?
I used to build bikes right here. This was my operating room, but it used to be clean, but I haven't been doing anything down here in years. This knucklehead came out of Bridgeport. This is a fresh built motor. He had a knucklehead and some other old bikes. I traded him like $2,000 worth of shovel parts for this motor.
Yeah.
And now this motor is worth somewhere between 20 and 30 grand.
Damn,
just the motor. Just had a guy used to ride with me back in the 80s, and he wanted to see what I had. I didn't have anything that I would sell to him, you know? So he goes on Marketplace, and he finds a knuckle motor in New Jersey. He says, what do you think? I said, well, how am I supposed to tell you? We don't know who built it. It's in a shop that are selling it for some guy. You can't hear it run. If you send me pictures, good pictures of the numbers, I might be able to tell you whether the numbers look good, which they did. So I said, well, how much? He says, the guy wants 40 grand for the motor.
Jesus
and I'm like,
Christ.
what? I said, that's kind of high. So he goes to fucking New Jersey and he buys this motor, paid 38 for it, and then another 2 grand for this beat up frame. That's all
When's the last time that motor ran?
This motor,
Yeah.
prior to being rebuilt in the 60s.
Yeah.
But you can see it's got those big spark plugs. So I can look in the spark plugs and see brand new
So
pistons.
I've heard stories about that engine builder, Jim.
Yeah.
He did everybody's like stroker motors
Oh,
and stuff.
God, yeah. He built this
All the
motor.
shovelhead,
This is 66 he built for me.
You know what I
Funny
mean? How
story.
different it is
You
now?
see these wheels here? This guy, he friggin' brought these wheels to me about 25 years ago to put tires on it. And he never came back. I see him every once in a while and stop and shop and whatnot. I said, dude, are you ever going to put that bike back together? I said, though, I mean, those tires are probably dry rotted by now.
They're brand new.
Another good one. Check this out.
Full Triumph?
That's a 650 Triumph that my brother Paul owned. And the first time I met Arlen was in a bike show in 1975. I went to a bike show in Detroit. This guy keeps bringing over people to see the paint on my Sportster, my 71. Every time he came over, he was talking about the paint with different people. And the guy next to me who has this Arlen S bike, he goes, what do you think about the Arlen S? And I said, yeah, I like his stuff, but I don't know, it's a little futuristic. And he goes, no, not the bike, dummy. He goes, you were just talking to him. I go,
That's funny.
I didn't know. I knew who he was, but I didn't know what he looked like. So I didn't know that was him, you know?
That was
Daytona
And I'm
was
going
cool.
the other
We
way
went-
with all the
Yeah.
girls.
Right?
They
They
didn't
caught
wanna
Pete
deal with
rolling
it.
down the street.
Yeah,
Look at
no,
Pete.
because,
Pete, are you on your trike in this picture?
yeah, that's me.
That's
That's
the
me
blue
with the
check.
girls. Yeah. Actually, I borrowed some of my friends' girlfriends.
Yeah, it's what
Because they all wanted their picture in the magazine.
Oh, there's the-
I made every magazine they put out that Daytona. Super Psycho. I was in, I don't know,
You were just
because,
everywhere.
because of the girls.
You get Froggy's back then. Look at this. Froggy's patio, like the rules.
When
and
was the last
stuff.
time you went to Daytona, Pete?
a couple years ago.
How much they charge you to go on the beach back then?
Yeah, remember
You remember?
on the beach?
Christ.
How much?
$33 a bike.
Oh,
A bike.
Well, that's why I don't go on the beach anymore. I mean, we used to go on; it was free.
It was nothing
Yeah?
because it was a
Yeah.
state beach.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
free.
look at Froggy's patio rules.
All of a sudden, there's friggin'
No sex.
yeah.
The touch.
I'm surprised the house hasn't fallen down because in that little crawl space, I got like 9 million parts up there.
You've
yeah.
talked about that spot
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why the ladder's there.
Do you walk in here?
Why, this is 10 times better?
Oh god. Yeah. Okay.
Holy smoky gold.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You've never been?
This
It's sick.
this was my office where I stayed.
Hey, my eyes went right to it.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 Dyna.
Oh,
Our
yeah,
service
yeah.
manual's getting beat up.
That's when we first started in '81.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been with your wife for how long?
I met her in '79, and then I told her if you stick around for 20 years, I'll marry you. So I met her on October 10th of '79. We got married on October 10th of '99.
There we go. You weren't kidding.
She must have marked it on the calendar.
She did.
That's my Sportster, my very
Oh, yeah.
my first Sportster. That's the one I was telling you Ness was checking out the paint on.
Oh.
And I was Mr. October on the very first Easy Rider calendar.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yep.
That's sick.
That is so funny, Pete. Oh, that's the DX
That's
that
my
was
DX.
in the garage
that
just
was,
now with the stolen
that was
license
a
plate
trip.
on it.
Yeah, that was a trip.
Oh, the basement was crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
All
This
the
bike
frames
here,
on the wall.
This bike here is mostly all RLNS shit. It's an RLNS frame. I got RLNS exhaust pipes. I got a bunch of shit. I sold this bike 3 times in the early 80s, and it kept coming back to me because people couldn't put it together. I finally built it, and I sold it to a guy who wrecked it, and I got it back again. And then I put it together like this, and I won a 2-week, all expenses paid trip to Germany through the Rat's Hole show. They shipped it over in a container
Really?
to Germany. We were over there for 2 weeks. Those frames are all, project bikes in the work. I got another Ness frame. I got the Jesse James frame on the far end there belongs to my buddy. Oh, here's another funny one. This guy gave me his motor. I don't know, it was at least 25 years ago.
Yeah.
To get chrome done on it. And I sent all his chrome out. I got it in the box somewhere. And he never came back for it. And this bike for 20-something years. And the guy stopped coming around. Wow. Yeah, check this motor out.
Holy shit, Pete.
You know Val White?
Yeah. I was just gonna ask
Val did the engraving and he painted it.
That's pretty cool. Just nine.
Yeah, that's another cool thing. I'm going to put that in my 86 Y Glide. I got one of those.
It's a brand new twin
brackets.
cam.
This is Pete, like
Never,
brand new.
never run yet. When I
This
started,
is worth so much money right
when
now.
I started, they came back from the trade show and they had 2 motors, and I go, nobody's going to buy these motors because they don't even make frames for them yet. This is a 2000 motor. I says, how the you think you're going to sell that?
Yeah.
And of course nobody was blowing motors up yet.
Not yet, they were brand new.
So and he says, Pete, you interested in that motor? And I says, if you give me a good price. And so he goes, okay, and they gave me a price. I paid about $2,500 for that motor.
In what year?
2002 or so, 2001.
Yeah, but brand freaking new.
It was sitting on the counter. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was brand.
That's
No, it was
crazy.
brand spanking new motor.
Yeah,
See all my holy rollers.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, all holy rollers.
Oh.
He used to take them to work, and it would take him a couple hours.
I feel like I've seen that.
And then we were doing them at my other buddies
Well, it looked like this.
who
Yeah.
passed away.
Solid.
Yeah.
And he would bring the Bic
So,
over there and use the
yeah.
machines at work. and
Yeah.
drill them.
He worked second
How
shift.
many of those did you sell? A lot?
I've sold quite a few of those, but not because I used to send them out for chrome, and powder coating, and polish them.
cool.
But the thing is, it got so expensive to do chrome and powder coating and
And
all.
nobody even wanted
So
to do
now
much.
I'm only selling them by request,
Yeah.
and it's all earlier stuff.
This deal though, with
Yeah.
Bic, that's how the East Coast air cleaner drivers got started.
Yeah.
Dan was making them at work on his lunch
Exactly.
break at his old machine shop.
That is exactly how that works.
Sneaking on 10 at a time.
Some of my
That's so funny.
some of
I bought Paulie Smoky Gold tank in here. It was sitting up on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of Paulie Sportster tanks. I got it for his birthday when he first started riding.
see that frame over there. Put 3 triple trees on it.
All stacked.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
sick. I didn't even see
That
that.
is sick, huh?
Oh, there's the
You see
trike
that,
we were just looking at upstairs.
Yeah.
Me and my crew built that bike. It was actually the first bike that the city of Daytona Chamber of Commerce bought to promote Bike Week. And they raffled that bike off on Main Street. I found that bike at Brothers, and it was beat up. Buzz Cantor from American Iron wanted me to build it. It was the first time they ever did it. He sold the bike to Daytona for $30,000. Nest donated parts, Custom Chrome donated parts, Nemco donated parts. Everybody donated parts. And the only thing I got for it was that cover. But the Daytona Chamber of Commerce raffled that off on Main Street. They sold 2,000 tickets at $50 a pop.
Wow.
It was $100 grand. They got for that bike. And then they did it for another 24 years. It was so successful. They did
But that was the first one.
Yeah. But they went to
Pete paved the way.
they went. That was the bike I built, and that was on the cover of
Yeah, that's what that was just the other one
the
that went
Dutch
to Germany.
magazine. Yeah, that's the one that went to Germany. Yeah,
That's sick, Pete.
and that see that leg right there?
Yeah.
That my machinist. That's his ashes are in there.
Oh, really?
He did that leg, and then my other buddy, also a master machinist, he engraved it, had it engraved, and did that. And,
That's awesome.
That's killer.
We made 3 of them, and his ashes are in those
That's
3.
sick, Pete.
That is awesome.
That's a poster from out of Street Chopper, early Street Chopper by the guy, and that's where I took my logo from.
That's sick.
That's inspired me to build this because I had a Springer on it when I first got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got to get that out of that yellow and plastic. That's from like the early 70s. That's Vinny Shudo. He's another good friend of mine. See that bike? He's had that for a million years. He bought it at Bridgeport. It's a 86 Softail. The first one to buy it was Hulk Hogan,
No way.
but he couldn't fit on it. So he traded it back in, but he's got the title with Hulk Hogan's name on it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is wild.
And this was our crew, Daytona. All those guys were with me in Daytona in, I think
Got
it
a
was
bigger crew than us.
1990, I think it was.
It's cool that Harley
Oh.
should do stuff like this, Pete. This is right at Harley.
Yeah, that
Like
was
so Sturgis, like for right now.
that was for my trike.
Yeah,
that
and even
was
this one
I
was
went.
when you go to Daytona.
Yeah, those were actual Harley ride-in shows. Don't laugh. That's me with my sports when I first bought it in 1971.
Yeah, Pete.
What was the first bike you bought?
This one.
This is the first bike you
I
ever
never
bought.
even had. I never had a mini bike before. I smashed this. That's why it looks like that because I smashed this
Okay.
up so many times.
No way.
Yeah.
I
So
smashed
that's when you first bought it.
Yeah.
So this bike went from this
Yeah.
to this,
Yes.
winning awards and everything.
Yes. Oh yeah. In fact, there it is with the Springer on it. I showed it in the fall of 1974 and 75, and I went all over the East Coast. I won first place in every show except for one in Philadelphia. I took second.
Everyone's got their
Yeah.
story, but like, what got you into buying the bike? And how old are you?
In 1970, I saw the movie, Then Came Bronson. And then I found out, I started buying street choppers, and I said, oh, it's a real bike. It's not just a movie bike. I said,
Yeah.
okay, so I had to buy it.
That's it.
How old were you?
I was 16.
16.
I bought this bike before I had my driver's license. And that's when I used to show it. That was when I met her on this.
That's sick.
That's Detroit.
At that show or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's Detroit.
That's sick.
Yep.
that's-
That's my brother's Triumph with the red motor that's downstairs now.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
And that was the only Honda I ever owned. And it was because this dude owed me money. They paid me with a Honda that we chopped. We slapped this together for Daytona because my brother's Triumph blew up. And we put this together in 5 days. Because my brother was so disappointed. I said, well, I'm looking around the shop and I'm going,
What can I
well,
throw together?
we got a frame, we got a motor. And so we put this together in 5 days.
That's sick.
Just so he could ride Daytona. Look, that's the first time I built that blue bike that's out
Yeah,
there.
it's cool. Look, Harley brought that back now.
Yes,
Yeah, Harley
that was
just
from
brought that back.
1982 album. It was in front of my old shop, my mom's place, where the one I got arrested at. And yeah, this was a shovel. This was out on US 1. This was one of my little brother's singer in a band and everything. He had all these crazy girlfriends. That was Fawn. You know.
She just sounds crazy.
She, oh my God, dude, you wouldn't believe the shit she used to do. It's my lowrider. I wrote that when it was new. I rode that to California in the summer of 1980. To California and back. Yeah. That's the Panhead with that, my first Easy Rider feature. What did they use in the Easy Rider? They used a picture of her when she showed up in her schoolgirl clothes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, so
Yeah.
that's
That's
another
another picture.
picture.
That's that girl.
They
yeah.
probably liked how it looked, you know, like a
Yeah,
on a Harley.
yeah. Yeah, the
Not your
school-
typical girl on
no,
the back.
No,
That's why they picked it.
they wanted the schoolgirl. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta bring the trike back.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like you can't paint it either. It's gotta be the original.
Well, I'm gonna paint it later, but not
yeah,
not
I would
right
leave the
now.
tips. It's synonymous to your Daytona back then, huh?
That's what's that?
You would go every year for Daytona.
Oh, we went 10 years in a row with that bus, pulling a 27-foot trailer full of bus.
We missed 1 year.
And I
in the past
never
7
got
years.
pulled over. It blew up a couple times, but I never got pulled over. That was that was one of the years when it blew up on me.
You guys blew up down Daytona and changed the motor down there?
Yep, yeah. I paid this old guy who towed us off the highway. He was like in his 80s, and his stepson put the motor in the bus.
That's sick.
And I had people still sleeping in the bus because they couldn't afford to fly home or whatever. You know, this guy.
That's our friends.
This guy.
That's literally there's literally nothing to change.
Yeah.
No, it's the same deal.
No, it's the same deal.
What do you boys think?
Pete's had all the good stuff. This is when motorcycling was cool, you know?
It's just cool seeing the different eras, to be honest.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
But
some
again,
stuff
though,
that-
like you said, it's the same but different. You know, we're on different bikes, but like
yeah, it's all you guys
school
do.
buses,
You guys do
bike
all the
weeks.
same.
No?
This was, well, we gotta drop Pete off.
Yeah.
We run I don't know, the internet too, I feel like ruined a lot of it. Like, luckily, like, what
Internet-
we're into, like, helps us. But a lot of stuff, like, just ruined the fun of it for a lot of people.
That's why I'm glad that the chopper scene still is. You know, it's not not like it used to be, but it's still like something people do.
Yeah.
It's 7.2, 7.2, 7.3. What is it? What is it, George? 7.3.
7.3.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple months ago, and we had it for
Gabe,
And the funny
Wheels.
thing was, George was.
it is funny.
Pete, where was this picture, Willie G?
That was at Wilchester Raceway in Connecticut. He rode the very first Softail to that event.
That's
They
crazy.
were having drag races that day too. You know what was funny was, we met Willie end of the day, and he used to drink a bit. And so anyway, my buddy Ben says to him, "Hey Willie, what's new for Harley Davidson?" And Willie says, "Well," he goes, "think of a Softail with a Hiawatha front end." And then he walks away, and then me and Ben are standing there. What the f is he talking about? You know, never heard of such a thing. So I told the story that my buddy Big Jim, he started working at Harley in 1954. And, well, it turns out, I told him the story, and he goes, "You don't know what a Hiawatha front end is?" I said, "No, I don't." He goes, "It's what they used to call the original Hydroglide." He says, because it resembles a Hiawatha train, the front of the train with the big headlight. And I'm like, oh, so he wasn't
No, he was telling you.
he was
You
telling
thought
us
he was all
telling us about the
shit.
heritage, which came out in 1986, and in 1983 he was telling us about it.
So you were working on it from 83. That was 3 years. That's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty wild.
That's cool that he, like, went out and about, though. He wasn't just out, like, the Harley shit.
He used to go to all the events, and he would see what guys were doing, and they were chopping touring bikes down, taking off the saddlebags,
All the
tank,
bullshit.
putting Sportster front ends on them, and making them sleek, you know. And he said, okay, well, that's what he did. He took the Sportster front end and he put it on a dresser, and that's how the Superglide was born. Dressers were always FLs, and the Sportsters were XLs. Well, when they came out with the Superglide, they called it an FX. The F was from FL and the X was from XL.
That's pretty cool.
So it's like combine both models.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Huh?
Started the
How the
Superglide
Superglide
line.
was born.
It was the birth
That's
of
sick.
the birth of the Superglide, huh?
That's sick.
That was how
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Pete.
We're going
Hey,
to
it's
talk
nice
about
meeting
Harley.
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Nice to meet you.
We'll see you
Yeah.
pretty much every day of the week.
It always blows our mind every time we go to get parts. We just tell the bike and what part we need, and he's rambling off part numbers in his head and running in the back, not even looking stuff on the computer. It's just cool to see like how he got to where he is now and all the history behind Pete.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Catch you guys.
All right,
later.
guys, take it easy. Well, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. It wasn't our crazy videos that we normally post, but it was super cool going over all the archives with Pete from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe for your next video.